Hey everyone, listen, we're up on YouTube today. We are talking about alien disclosure, the monetary system, and what's up with that with astrology and astrological predictions. And I was just looking that up, so I did some research, and it just so happened that they had a conference in Washington with whistleblowers and disclosures of eyewitnesses of an alien craft abduction of the craft itself after they shot it down and crashed it, and one, maybe two aliens. And this happened in Brazil in a place called Virginia. Sounds like Virginia, but it's Virginia in Brazil in 1996. And I was already privy to this. I'd seen some of the footage around it before. And so I'm researching that only to find out that they really didn't use this as disclosure as a threat to our monetary system. However, I'm blurry for some reason on my YouTube. So, however, what she did say, and it was a columnist that was communicating this in one of her articles, is that we need to test humanity of how they would react if there is an alien disclosure and if it would take down the monetary system. She was just posing it as an editorial sort of question. However, then I'm just flipping through YouTube like I always do, and I do follow Ross Colbert, and I'm probably butchering his name, but he has his own show on Nation. Oh my gosh, it's Call Hearts. So Ross Call Hearts, and he's a journalist and a commentator, and he claims that governments have hidden information about UAPs, non-human intelligence, and he's got his own show on something Nation. You guys can look that up for yourself. With that being said, alien disclosure, thank you. With that being said, they had a 3-hour Congress meeting with these people that had not come out in 30 years. And this stuff's freaky. I'm going to give you a little synopsis of what happened in 1996, but you can look it up yourself. Now, astrologically, and I'm going to give you some dates, so I want you to hang in there because these dates are going to be very important to understand when is this disclosure going to happen and how is it going to affect, or if it's going to affect our monetary system. And then I'm going to tell you if it is a positive effect on us or not such a positive effect on us. And obviously, it depends on the lens that you're looking through too. So I can't tell how each and every individual is going to be affected by this, but I can tell you globally, the larger percentage of how people are going to be affected by this, negative or positively. And that is with the alien disclosure that has come out in Washington, D.C. and the Post. What was it, Randy? It was based in England. Well, there's going to be two, and you're not wrong. Because I've been, and my husband said the same thing. Oh, they're just going to fake some alien propaganda thing, like invasion, so that everybody's scared and it changes the monetary system and the government swoops in and saves the day. I don't see that exactly that way. I see it coming in two different directions, and they will come in two different directions. So the newspaper that it's in, I just know it's a UK-based newspaper. It wasn't Forbes, but it was something big like Forbes. Or was it Forbes? I probably read the article in Forbes too. So it's all over the place. It's once I was given the tip, I seen that it was all over the place. So I'm going to give you the dates of when this is going to happen. I'm going to talk whether it's a secret society or if it really is aliens. The Bank of England, they were advised by former security banking official. That I didn't see. You might want to take a look, Randy, at your own research. And I'm not doubting your research, but what I've seen so far was it was an article that was saying that the Bank of Canada should do some testing on how humanity would react if there was an alien disclosure and how it would affect the financial system. So yes. Are they pulling the wool over our eyes, or will they? Yes, 100%. Is there actually going to be alien disclosure? Yes, 100%. And So I'm flipping along and see, this is how Source works with me. Source literally is the best assistant anyone could have. When you get to know how to work with Source, you just start, and I teach my clients how to manifest all the time, but you have to work with me on a regular basis. You can have like one session and it's definitely going to get the ball rolling, specifically if you're a self-motivated person. But I like a lot of my clients work with me on a regular basis to manifest. So as I'm researching, Source just starts dropping in these golden nugget videos that I've never seen before. I didn't even know what was happening. Like, I found it just when it popped up live. What happened in 1996, in a very short, there is a director, I'm missing his name right now too, but he does all these UAP, UFO type of productions, and he's a filmmaker. He went hounding in Brazil, because in Brazil there was a cigar-shaped 1996 flying vehicle, and a very prominent person in the city saw it. He went running to the crash, not running, took his car, went to the crash site, figuring whatever that is, somebody's going to be hurt. And of course there was, and he saw two aliens and they come stumbling out all confused. And all of a sudden, men in black come out of a black car, come up to him, and you see nothing. And if you tell anybody, that'll be the end of your life. Like, your life will never be the same. Will make it very difficult. He starts to argue, but those people, they're going to be hurt. And they took a gun and just jabbed it into him and said, into his gut, and said, you better get out of here. Then this guy goes running to, and I have to tell you this because you have to know why this guy didn't disclose anything until 30 years later, and how this is going to affect our monetary system, and how this is going to affect what we want to do with our own personal monetary involvement in the monetary system. And I'm going to tell you why it matters and why it doesn't matter. So he goes to a gas station so he can shake this off. And all of a sudden, the two guys in the black come in again, and they go up to him and they call him by name, first name, last name. They tell him what his wife's name is, and they tell him where he lives. And they said, if you dare tell anybody, we will make all your lives miserable. So this film producer, 28 years later, a couple years ago, and this is the anniversary of it today, 30 years ago, goes searching for this guy who's seen this. This is not the end of the story. What happens after that is this one police officer, young police officer, there's this alien. I don't know what happened to the other one. They captured it, I guess. They got the mission, but the other one got away. And he's stumbling around the town, and some people the three women, well, they're now women, but they were a child, 14, 19 and 21, saw this alien. Quite a few people said they saw it. They were also warned, you saw nothing, once they found them individually, and they were terrified, especially a 14-year-old, right? This police officer comes and swoops up this alien who's obviously very ill and unwell. The alien accidentally, you can't make this shit up. You can't make this up. This has really happened. Accidentally, with his fingernail, cut this young police officer under the armpit. So they both go to the hospital. He brings him to the hospital, but then the police officer collapses. He ends up being, what's it called? Sepsis, where you get an infection throughout all your fluids throughout your whole body. He dies several hours later from this little cut. And the alien they did an autopsy on the man, they did an autopsy on the alien, and then of course the men in black came in and said, we'll take that, and everybody shut up, including the two surgeons, one for the autopsy, one who was stitching up and helping the alien. So they all disappear. Nobody they never come out and talk about it. It just disappears. They get ridiculed and ostracized in Brazil. Brazil tries very hard to keep all of this down. This isn't going to change the monetary system. And Randy, I want to thank you for that. So what happened now is they're all coming forward. The man that was mostly keeping it undercover, he had a stroke, a heart attack a few years ago. And on his almost deathbed, he said, if I survive this, I'm going to tell everybody, right? I'm going to tell everybody because I can't bring this to my grave. So the United States has aliens captured. They've captured them and they put them somewhere, like jail or whatever that is. They're there. That one of them that came, the other one died, but they took that one. And they reversed engineered the ship. And there's all kinds of details that I'm not very well known on, but you want to take a look. I'll put the link down there at News Nation. That's what it is. And how is this going to affect the monetary system? So yes, there's going to be a fake version of an alien disclosure, right? They'll show people, like, they'll try to make it look good, right? Like, we did have these aliens, we saved them from humanity who could have harmed them, and we patched them all up, and we patched up their vehicle, and they were able to fly home. And here's all the pictures and the video footage to show whatever that is, right? But we want everyone to know we are not alone. Okay, so that's going to be one scenario. You might want to save this to see, when it comes true, to revert back to this. The second one will be aliens themselves. And I've said that for a long time. I've said that it'll be aliens themselves that will disclose who they are. And then it's going to kibosh the original story from the government. And that's when everybody won't know what the frick to believe. We're going to have, like I said, we're going to have Christians thinking this is a devil. We're going to have atheists thinking this is what God is. Going to be all kinds of scenarios. There's going to be fear that none of this really matters. Why do we care? When it comes out what the governments have been doing and non-disclosing and threatening living human, injuring, harming, even killing innocent human beings, that will change the monetary system, because then people will turn on, how can we trust the government if they could do this? When is this going to come out? And I know I feel like I'm talking like a loony bin, but I've done the research, and this is I'm just passing, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just passing on the information. But astrologically, thank you, Susie, I'm going to give you some dates and when that's going to happen. Monetary system change is it's going to start in mid-June and July. So I think there's kind of soft launch at that point. And that's when everyone's going to get introduced to the digital ID, and they're going to just see how it goes over, right? They're not going to just say, hey, by the way, it's been done. That's what everybody's afraid of. They think that one day they're going to wake up and the monetary system and digital ID just rolls out, right? They're not stupid like that. They're going to, just like that, they did that with COVID too. 2 weeks, we're going to have this all figured out in 2 weeks, and we're going to have this done in 2 months. And you just have to refrain from flying temporarily, and don't go to restaurants temporarily. I don't know if that happened everywhere in the world, but it happened in Canada that way. And then it just got longer and longer. A year and a half later, it's still happening, because we were setting them up to cue in what they could do and what they couldn't do. There was actually a pandemic. Yes, there was actually COVID. Yes, I became the sickest I'd ever been twice. And people did die from that, as did people died from a whole bunch of other things as well. But we won't get into that. All I'm saying is they will take a real situation and see what they work with it, right? They'll take the real clay and they'll work with it and see what they can mold it into. That being said, there's a ton of government officials that are pleading for this disclosure to come out. And if you see it on the Nation with Ross Cohort, you will see all the other officials that are involved in this. And there's governors, state governors, there's police officers, there's people that work for government and CIA and FBI that used to work there. They're all coming forward. So there are some really good people. And according to me, and according to statistics, there are more good people out there than bad people. So when June comes, that's where I see they're going to kind of end the digital ID in a way that, if you have the digital ID, this is the privileges it can offer you. This is the advantages it can offer you. This will make this part of your life not impossible, but a lot easier. And that's how they'll usher it in. Hi ho, silver away. I'll mention whether we should buy silver or not. And August, there is Chris Bledsoe, you can look him up, states that there's a huge disclosure of other beings. So they call them non-human beings because they can't just say alien because everybody just thinks like an alien, right? Big eyes, teeny mouth, big fat head. And there's so many different other types of non-human beings out there. And sometimes I think we're non-human beings, but anyways. And his is more angelic, more higher spirit, comes from source. It's a bulb of light. He's saying this is going to be shown to the world somehow. They're going to show themselves to the world around Easter of April of 2026, because he mentions the fixed star Regulus. I see that the fixed star Regulus is affecting specifically the United States, but globally in August, end of August, beginning of September of 2026. The ones that rule the world, they come forward, the beings. And that's an interesting, I'm on YouTube as well. I really encourage everybody to go to YouTube it's Ask Holly Hall. Ask Holly Hall is my handle for everything. If you have a social media and you want to find me, just look for Ask Holly Hall. The here is, how is it going to completely change our monetary system? I, for one, am on the fence of whether I would do digital ID or not, because I feel like I'm already doing it now. Like my fingerprint somewhere. I'm sure I've given a fingerprint once and they have it. They have what I look like. They have my entire shopping history, my credit card history, where I've lived history. I use my credit card to my friends' dismay, because I have a lot of awake friends, a lot, right? Because it's just easy. I pay it off. It's how I monitor my money. It's how I'm able to manage it's how I manifest, to be honest with you too. Because sometimes I'll put like big items, like this Christmas, I paid for me and my daughter and my husband to go on a 2.5-week vacation. It cost 10 grand, like everything, the shopping and the food we bought and everything, including a first class ticket on the way back that I paid only an extra $150 each to get. So I put it on my card and then I just pay it off, manifest more money, pay it off. And it's just a game that I play with my credit card and source. So that, anyways, long story. That's why I do that. So I feel like we're already in a digital ID world. Don't you think? Like, what do you think about that? And then secondly, I don't like it because there's an agenda and I don't like agendas. I'm going to give you a bit of tip about how to deal with control, especially mass control in the world. And it's all over. Don't just think government. It's all over. It's big corporations, organizations keeping you out of the loop. They're agricultural, the food industry, the pharmaceutical industry. You just go on and on. I mean, the education system, even, like, you just go on and on. It's never going to end, right? The whole world is built on making money and having power. So you can't escape this at all. But with that being said, what will it do? Well, it's going to take, I would say, I'm going to say astrologically. By the way, what happened at COVID was a Saturn-Pluto conjunction, square, I believe. No, it was a conjunction, and it was in 2020. And the next one will be in 2054. 2054 is the next one. So I'm not worried about any kind of pandemic coming anytime soon. We're going to look at 27, because this is going to lead into 2027, when our whole monetary system is going to be changed overnight. And so the next event, and then I'm going to tell you if this is positive or negative, in 2027, oh my goodness, there we go, is June of 2027. Kind of a year cycle, correct? It starts in June, July of 2026, ends in June, July of 2027. Those two are paramount on sudden changes in control and our monetary. This, according to astrology, it's a trine, and it is very positive. Trines are very positive. It's really grounded in changing our materialistic view of life. But what happens is Aquarius pops in there with Saturn, and Aquarius is squaring Uranus and Saturn. So this is where it gets nasty in a super scary way, but it gets a bit twisted. And that started at the end of 2025. The understanding that there are alien, and I'm not just talking about the aliens, the out the sky aliens. I'm talking about even whatever's alien to us, what's foreign to us, what we don't know. That is what's going to be part of the exposure. The public outcry around it is what's going to cause the problem. Yeah. And as we are, Holly, everything we do is being tracked for data. And I'm going to tell you that it's a very positive thing, but it isn't going to feel like that for a lot of people right at the beginning. Because people who have an enormous amount of in their lives, such as I need my paycheck to keep up with my mortgage because I have a big house in a nice neighborhood where my kids go to school and I don't want to take them out of school, and I have nice clothes and I have nice furniture, and kids go to all the best schools and they get all of the extracurricular activities I pay for. And I purchased a second house as an investment in 2020 so that I could rent it out for way too much rent. And if you're in that category, if you're nodding your head to like 8 of that, this is going to hurt you. It's going to be hard. I'm not going to lie about that. If you're renting, you're in a good place. If you've owned your house more than, I would say, 10 years, or I'd say 8 years, you're probably in a good place. If you can live off of one income, you're in a good place. If you're willing to lose what you have and downsize drastically, you're in a good place. All of these places are good places, right? And some of them, it wouldn't raise them for any of that. Rent is going to go down. Prices of housing is going to go down. And that is going to be not drastically, but that's going to be beneficial for a lot of people. Secondly, if you're wanting to invest, or you're wanting to have your dream house or your dream rental because you want to stay nomad, because a lot of people are going to go like, owning all this stuff doesn't really matter. That's what it's going to come down to. Pluto in Capricorn really grounds us about who's in control. You know what this is like? Growing up with parents. That's what it's like. This is spot on in your life right now. Yeah. So talking about the global shift that's going to be happen with, I know it sounds woo-woo, but it's not, it's real alien exposure. Disclosure. The Bank of England is talking about it. The newspapers are talking about it. It's all over. And how is that going to change our monetary system, and when? And so if you're living a super, super life, or we're living paycheck to paycheck, paying the rent, you're okay. You're going to be golden. And if you've got yourself a lot in debt, this isn't going to be a fun time. But globally, this is perfect for all of us to divide and shift gears. Because we're going to say no to the banks, no to credit cards, no to getting loans, no to needing giant mortgages. We're going to be okay in a fifth wheel trailer in a compound of other people got fifth wheel trailers. We're going to be fine with purchasing a house at a smaller house to have it paid off. We're going to be okay to find a way to make our own money and make our own income. Because the one that's going to take longer is AI. So AI is going, I know Elon Musk tweeted about it, or whatever they call it, X'd it yesterday, and I didn't read it yet because I'm not on there often. I'm going to be doing free readings in about 5 minutes. Why would companies that own apartment buildings lower rent? Will it be less through subsidies? That's a great question. And the answer is going to shock you. You'll be like, why didn't I think of that? Right? It's going to shock you, but it's a twister. Okay. So let me look at it this way. Let me finish this one part though. We are going to divide so that we can live in our own way, the ones that want to live super simple. Some of them have no choice but to live super, super simple. This is going to take, like I said, as a digital employees take a lot of jobs away. So that's one of the digital IDs is also the UBI, Universal Basic Income. will come to play. A lot of people are going to want that. Why wouldn't people want that? I mean, it's so if you want it, you got to go on the digital ID. Well, they won't make um, mandatory, but it'd be highly suggested. Just like what happened in 2020, all this stuff wasn't mandatory, but people complied, and restaurants complied, and stores complied, and some didn't. Most of them did. So why would why would companies that own apartment buildings lower rent? They won't be able to lower it to what it was because everything around them is costing more money, right? Their utilities for the building is costing more money. The repairs are costing more money. The maintenance is costing more money. They have to pay people that run around the building more money. But the building itself isn't costing more money. If you bought a house in 2010, you bought a house in 2010, you got 16 paid off at this point. You bought your house for $150,000. COVID came and you have an empty basement and you found out you could make $2,000 a month renting out your basement. You own a building and everybody's paying $800 a month, and you find out you can make $2,000 a month. Kick everybody out. Got to renovate because they got to grandfather everybody in. But if they kick people out because they want to sell it or they want to renovate it, then they can bring new people in at $2,000. The building costs the same amount of money. So that's how they do it. They're just going to go back and make the same amount of money they did pre-COVID. That's all. Everybody was greedy and money hungry. We had a guy that rented in our basement. We sold our house in 2020 and we didn't change his rent. He was in our house for almost 8 years and we never changed his rent. He was paying $800. He had a full functioning large 1-bedroom apartment, brand new, separate walkout. And then just before COVID, things were for us and we was like, are you okay to pay $1,000, which was still way less. The apartment, those are going for about 13 at the time. And then we moved out and we found him a place where he's actually, we're in a garage that I'm in right now that we converted into a 2-bedroom on our family's property. And family has it's a business. The whole thing is a moving business. So they have a big giant building in the front that the owners don't live at, but some of the employees live at. And so that's moved our tenant to, and we're still, he's like family. And so a lot of people were greedy though. And we sold our house, we got some money for it, and now we're going to be okay when things are changing. So Randy, I don't know if that helps answer your question. In the US, the big banks want to push a 50-year mortgage. I know. I just heard that a few days ago. I go, wait, what? A 50-year mortgage. Most people can't even buy a house when they're 30 and they're going to get a 50-year mortgage. Our mortgage will probably be as long as we could because we're getting up there and we're going to have a teeny tiny mortgage. So I'm like, I'd rather pay a couple $100 a month than I could pay $1,000 a month and have it paid off like that because it's a teeny tiny mortgage. I'm even wondering, will they give us a mortgage that small when the time comes? So let's do some free readings. Put up your birth dates and your birth information if you are here to have that done. I'd also like your comments. And I know somebody made a comment here, repairs, hosting more. Yeah, I know that. It's not going to go down like pre-COVID price, but it's not. They're already coming down in price, rent, and people aren't renting. Don't get caught up in the rat race of life and working hard, coming home and then repeat. I know, it's insane. Is this going to make things better for Africa and poor countries? I did a prediction on that. Evil laugh. I did a prediction on that. There we go. Now you can hear me. I think I accidentally, and now I'm going to have I unplugged my good mic because I thought that's what it was. Now I'm going to sound different. Yes, I hit something. I'll have to edit this out now for the new one. So no, it was good there. My personality traits and what's coming up for this year. Baby in my future. Let me answer one. And we've got 95. And we've got June 22. Always, if you guys have your birth time, you give me your birth time. Always. I don't care where you live. Just at least give me your birth time. But it's already said and done. I'm moving on to your chart. And birth time, if I had your birth time, I'd be able to tell if and when you were having a baby. I don't see anything around baby until after April, at least. There's some financial constraints that you're in right now. Very confused about what's going on with somebody, with manager. There's a manager at your job, or there's somebody that's and a father figure. There's just too many problems there. That has to be taken care of until after April is when I would see a pregnancy. Monetary system is really important to you. It's interesting I'm having this conversation right now because you're probably checking off all the boxes. I need my paycheck. I need my comfy home. I need to live at the means that I have designed for me. And this is a very important lesson that you're learning, is to be able to balance work and play. It's your whole life. You either work too hard or you play too hard. Just very drastic opposition of that. And it's been something that's been frustrating you all your life. And so for you, you're here to balance that out by bringing the work down and the play up, not one or the other. I'm going to be 68. I'm trying to keep my job. Holly, how many of these do you do one life? I do every 5 days a week at 8 o'clock. Yes, very true. I'm black and white. I need balance. So let's take a look at April 13. She wants to retire. Okay, way I'm getting a download. So you have access to letting go of assets, or like that would alleviate your expenditures. So for instance, what I'm seeing is property. So you've got property, and you've also have savings that are being used in a very, like, you saved it, you've invested it, all of that is happening, but that can also be changed. And I don't think you're going to figure that out this year. I don't think you'll do it till next year. And I would be very careful. If you do it this year, do it now, anytime now between March. Take a look at what you can do with those resources and assets that you have and how you can move them around so that you're living on less. Your life, soul, destiny planet sign, which is in the calculation of a North Node, is in Virgo. And it is asking you to have more of a plan, to be more serious, but also to serve others and to serve yourself and to be more humble. That 6 years ago, savings gone, trying to survive. So I'm going to ask you, do you own a home or do you own property? Yes, Lily, go ahead. Ask question. Lily's a regular client. Do you own a house or do you own property, or is that what you sold 6 years ago? Somehow I'm getting that you've been living above your means, but it's not just, you're not above anybody else's means. Nobody's going to look at you like you're some rich person. Not at all. Right? Anymore, divorce, sold home, split money. Okay, it happened 6 years ago. So did you invest that money then? Because you've got resources out there somewhere. Did you invest it? Is it in TFSA? Is it making a larger income? Or did you spend it all to survive and you've still got to work? Anyways, all of this is going to change for you by December of 2026. It's going to start, you're going to get an opportunity, advice of some sort that's going to come to you in the summer of 2026. You're not going to take that advice around the financial, monetary part. And the confusion of it all, that's actually in the new year of 2027. It's a very confusing time right now. You are paid off large credit. Yeah, that's a big deal. Holy cow. So you're looking back at your life right now and you're seeing with eyes wide open. You're seeing things you never seen before, that you never knew before. To you, it's to other people, and even to you, it's like so obvious. How come I didn't see this? It's even going to get clearer in the onset of 2027. So this is a sad time. It feels like you're in deep rest, and it feels like you're not going to climb out of it. But I guarantee you are going to climb out of this. You're at the last stage of learning a very important upgrading you to become more spiritual around money and finances and letting go of your money story. Because you got a very strong money story. And that was developed negatively through your partner. And did you meet your partner when you were really young? So that partner taught you a lot about how people can kind of pull over your eyes when it comes to finances and money. So he either didn't disclose all the money that he had, didn't disclose where the money was being spent, had you fraudulently made signatures on things that you didn't sign or you didn't know what you were signing, right? And she says, yes, I was married 40 years. You're 63. You're 68. So you're married at 18, which means you probably met him when you were a teenager. You know, this, you even knew him when you were like 6, 7 years old, right? He had a separate bank, she says. So this is you people that suffer. Most likely he had some kind of in and out of depression, might have had a drinking problem. He had escape issues, which means he wasn't, present quite a lot, if anything, may have even cheated on you. It just seemed like he wasn't there. He wasn't present at all. And it was like another hidden life, and because he came across as suffering, a victim, you fell for that. Super cheated. You fell for that because you have a big heart. You have a huge heart. And I'm going to teach you a little bit of lesson that I think might help. And if you can get the movie, you can probably find it for free on YouTube. And I would watch it a few times. It's an old movie, but I would watch it a few times because there's so many golden nuggets. And it's called The Warrior. And it's Chris Christopherson plays the wise man. And it's just a basic setting. Like it's a teenager that's in high school or college, and he's a star athlete and he gets everything he wants in life because of that. He's a good looking guy and he's got high grades, and he's biker. He's likes to bike. He lives a fast life. Well, he gets himself in trouble. I won't give away the story. Yeah, peaceful. And this is a lesson I'm going to share with you, Sarah, and anybody who's got a money story. If you want to get rid of your money story, you want to hear this lesson. And that is Chris Christopherson played Lorraine, I'm going to get to your question soon too. Lorraine, if you can give me a question on YouTube. He plays kind of a kung fu guy, like warrior or wise martial arts. But basically it's just this young kid is working for him in the gas station. And he starts teaching him all of these superpowers by how, and you see why he needs to learn this, but he teaches them all these superpowers, but it's just all martial arts and power of the mind and power of suggestion. And it's very long, but he realizes this old guy, because he calls him an old guy because he is much older, is super powerful, and he gains an enormous amount of respect for this kid. He was a cocky little kid that had everything, the child. And here's the lesson. They're going down an alleyway and some thugs come along and they wallet. And then they say they want his watch. And then they say, that looks like an expensive belt. I want your belt. And he doesn't do anything. He just gives the guy the wallet, gives the guy his watch, gives the guy thing. He goes, want my jacket too? This is a real leather jacket. It's expensive. You want that too? Gives that to him. He goes, how about these pants? These are like pants. They're probably, and so you want these too? And how about my shoes? He starts kicking. And then the thugs start thinking, you're a crazy man. And they just run away. But they still have his watch and his wallet and his leather coat. And the young kid looks at him, loses all respect for him. Like you can see it just drop off, his face drop down in disappointment. Why would you do that when you have the tools physically? You could have wiped them out. You could have knocked them out. Could have killed them if you wanted to. And he said, because anything I have, I don't need it. It means nothing to me. I'm not going to fight for it. And if they need it, they obviously, for whatever reason, need it more than I do. And that was one of the big lessons. So when you realize that everything the government or big corporations or pharmaceutical situations or whatever you think has control over us, if you think it's NATO, if you think it's aliens, if you think it's your boss, it's maybe the monetary system itself has control. How about the grocery stores? They have control too. They mark up the prices. It makes it difficult for us to buy, good food. They all have control. As soon as you realize they can have it, you can have that control. You can have your grocery stores. You can have your pharmaceuticals. You can have your brand new car making companies. You can have your oil. You can have your gas. As soon as you realize that you don't need it, you don't want it, and you don't care who else has it, none of that matters anymore. It won't, nothing. You won't argue with anybody about politics. You won't argue about anything about whether they're spraying the air or not. The big giant picture is it doesn't really matter on a soul, spiritual, aliens from other planet level. It doesn't matter. The microbes in the ocean don't care. The parasites in your stomach don't care. Feeding off your stress. It doesn't matter. And when we realize, and I'll give you another lesson that I learned when I was a kid. I was bullied a lot. Has anybody been bullied? You always had that attitude. I know, because you're a giver, Sarah. Sarah, giver. And people take advantages of givers. But this guy was a giver too, but he didn't see it as being taken advantage of. You see the difference? They took everything from him. My motto is my we're not of this earth. I love that. I don't want to stay in Ontario. I hear you. I'm manifesting getting out of Ontario, Lorraine. I already did a reading on that for you. Answer me if I didn't. This blurry Zoom is making me crazy. Okay, where was I? So when I was a kid, I was bullied a lot. And I would cross a Protestant school to go to a Catholic school. So a lot of the Protestants, there was always fighting with each other, right? Good old Irish area that I lived in, Irish-French area that I lived in. And okay, Lorraine, next. Every time I got bullied, I remember one time I had this big bouncy ball and I was guarding it with my life because the gym teacher said, we don't usually lend these ones out, but if you be very, very, very with it. Well, of course, the bullies come from the other school. They knock it out of my hand. They puncture it. So now it's deflated. It's dead. And it was winter. And so before they did that, I'm holding the ball like this because I don't want them to take it from me. They take my scarf. They tie it as tight as I can around my neck. I end up dropping the ball, and that's when they punctured it and whatever. And I just let them do all that. In fact, once I picked up the ball, I kept walking. They're like, ha, 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 laughing, right? I'm like 11 years old. I kept this tight around my neck until I thought they couldn't see me anymore. And then I loosened it. I had kids, two of them, they would gang up on me and throw snowballs at me and everything. And I wouldn't just stand there. 3 of them sometimes, they're all in a pyramid around me and I'm standing in the middle. I'm getting plummeted by them. I would walk down the street and somebody would be playing with a snowball as they're walking towards me and poof, right in my face. And I wore really thick glasses when I was younger. I don't have to wear glasses now, but I do for reading because I had surgery done. What I learned from that is I always stayed controlled. I never reacted. I never fought back. And you know what's surprising? Those 2 girls, they all apologized to me by the end of grade 8. The other one, I just did it because she did it. And I actually had someone who was bullied a lot as well, even more than I was, because he was a guy. So he got beat up on physically. I used to protect him by walking home from school with him so nobody would touch him because I was a girl. And I still had it in my book. He wrote 2 pages of how much that meant to him. And we never talked. I would walk all the way to his house and we wouldn't even talk because we didn't friends. I started walking beside him as we were walking home so he wouldn't get beat up in the park. And why does that matter? Because this is how we treat all bullies. This is how we treat all the people that want to be in control, is we act as if it doesn't even matter. We don't fight back. And that's what the Buddhist monks do in Tibet. And they've been, right, I did that with her. I never fought back. Now, that doesn't mean that you put up with severe abuse. You walk away, right? You can lengthen the abuse by staying in abusive situation. I away from those. I didn't just sit there and go, where are you going? Get back here. Keep throwing snowballs at me. I didn't stay. I trying to walk away and eventually they'd give up and I would walk away. You walk away. So how can we do that as a society? How can we walk away from this and support each other? That's the great divide. So I'm going to take a look at Lorraine. She wants to get out of Ontario. So do I. This winter has been brutal. If you live in Ontario, this winter has been so bad. And my husband's like, we've had bad winters before. Yeah, well, the winters in the last 5 years, I haven't been here. So I really hate it more so. But Lily, I'll answer yours as well. So we got June 7th. And she does have her time of birth, which I think she wrote 40 p.m. Very good. And we're going to look at when is she going to move. Well, you've got to wait, Lorraine, for all this global stuff to happen, which I just mentioned at the beginning of this whole 1 hour. Okay. And TikTok, going to be signing off soon. So if you want to continue with me, you've got to go to Askhollyhall on YouTube. Okay. I'll be off soon. Yeah. Okay. You've got through 2027. I'm going to mention when it can happen sooner, which is like right about now. You had 2 or 3 opportunities last year, and that's when you should have took those opportunities. Okay. Sign up for my TikTok, and that's how you get notifications when I'm doing lives. But you didn't take them. And it was mostly to do with fear of not being able to maintain your financial situation. Will it cost me too much? Will I get a job, etc. But it's still not a bad plan to have waited. And I would even wait for you 2027. I would wait till after the end of April of 2027. Oh my gosh, even all of 2027. Okay, let's look at it this way. I'm going to tell you when to do it before, because you're going to be going through an upgrade in letting go of blocks that no longer serve you and going more with your intuition and making sure your dreams come true. And do this before mid of 2026. So if you're going to move, that's up to you. I mean, we have power. I know I want to do it, and I'm working on it. And it's ultimately up to me. And then when the prices come down a bit in the area that I want to move, but you have to do it. If you want to get it done, it'll have to happen before June. After that, even if you do move, you'll be confused at, did I choose the right place? Is this where I'm supposed to be? I'd still feel lost. I still feel confused. But it's really because it's having you take a look at your past and leaving that behind and doing the healing that you'll be doing, because you're leaving it all behind. It really takes a lot of people that you've been really diligent with, been loyal to. You're walking away from that. And even though you're doing it like it doesn't, they don't really care if I leave or not, it's still you processing the anger and the hurt and some of the gossip that comes along with them. I don't know if that makes sense to you, if that resonates with you at all. And a North Bay question. I was fighting a lot. I can't stand only bullies when I was young. Yeah, I hear you. I don't know if Lorraine, I don't want to stay in Ontario. Nope. A Korea foreign couple is teaching in the city. The rent, the deposits are affordable. The classrooms look nice. They are earning good money, but moved back to Australia. The rent and deposits are cheaper than the greenhouse. Chris thinks it'd be good, but I am not sure. What do you think? That's a deeper question, Lily. I can't just answer that one off. You're a coaching client of mine. We'll talk about it in the next coaching session, because that's just bringing up a few other questions for me, because I know that you got an opportunity to teach in another school. Is that the same school? I don't know. So we'll have to do a longer discussion. 5/15/72 North Bay on work, and will I get promoted? So January, February, March. Yeah, that's January, February. I always have to do this. May 15th, 72. You guys will get to know me, how I work. Okay, and then I think you did give me time of birth. May 15th, 72, 12:10 p.m. Okay, I want to make sure 15th. Okay, May 15th. When are you going to get a promotion? The question I'm going to answer. Askhollyhall.com is when you can get a reading. A promotion is so careful what you wish for. You get that promotion, it'll be, but it won't be what you expected it. You put it out there, I want the promotion for the highest good of all, and that will serve me and I'll be happy and content, then you won't get the promotion. If you're manifesting a promotion and it's not the best thing for you, then you will get the promotion, but you'll be very confused at why it hasn't turned out to be what you expected it to turn out to be. And that we are looking at March of 2026. Okay, there's your answer there. I'm silly. It's important that I spend some good. Doreen said, yes, thank you, Holly. Yes, it makes sense to me. And Lily, we'll talk about that when we have our next session, that I talk to her once a month. And in between, and my coaching clients can contact me between sessions, and I help support them with minor questions, not usually a long, like a big heavy duty one like that, where I have to look up a whole bunch of different charts and I have to talk about different situations. But here I am in cold Ontario, Canada. I'm going to stop now. Thank you, everyone, for hanging in there. And we will see you tomorrow. Actually, you know what? Oh, no, you will see me tomorrow. I was going to say you weren't going to see me tomorrow because we were going to go to a boat show, but we canceled it. So I'll be here tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Namaste.